This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, we are doing a hotel highlight that was recommended by somebody who messaged me on Instagram. And if I can do it fast enough, I can try to pull it up who actually gave me this idea. Apologies I didn't have it on hand, but yeah, so this was from Neil. So thank you very much, Neil, for the recommendation. I didn't know that I haven't done this hotel before, but I guess I haven't. But he did want to shout out Eric, Chris, and Dustin, and he says, go to Vegas with him. So just saying, you do have somebody who loves you enough to say, come to Vegas with me and possibly stay at Planet Hollywood. So we're going to be highlighting all the things on property, whether it be their shows, their restaurants, the casino itself, the hotel, of course, the rooms, locations, all that good stuff. So stay tuned as we hit our hotel highlight, the Planet Hollywood. Okay, just quick news before we jump into the episode. There was a announcement. Everybody just wants to come to Vegas, man, and I think that says a lot about our wonderful city. That Barstool Spring Break, I don't know if anybody listens to Barstool Sports, they last year did something called Barstool Beach House, which was on, the Jersey Shore, and I thought it was like ridiculous, and then I was up at midnight, just going through what they did that evening. And it was actually pretty entertaining. I watched it primarily on Twitter, which I think is probably the easiest way to watch it and keep up to date. But you can watch it on TikTok. I think they're on Instagram as well. But I don't really think Twitter's great. Not anymore. But for that type of stuff, that's kind of what it's made for. So it's basically a reality show. It's kind of like any other reality show, except it's done primarily on sort of like in live time on social media. So I am much more invested now that it's going to be in Las Vegas, and I was going to do a video where I was trying to figure out where they were going to stay, but I kept putting it off, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. But the concept is they're basically just coming out to Vegas for 1 week and going to party for the whole week, which I think is hilarious because first of all, let's try to figure it out. So when they did this on the Jersey Shore, they're basically followed by a bunch of camera people that and they're producers that will film on small cameras, and it's in New Jersey on the Jersey Shore, so they're going to small bars, which is much easier to do. You don't need that many film releases. They kind of organize it. It's sort of branded, but not to be that guy, but they're little bars. There were little bars in New Jersey. Now they're coming to Las Vegas. It takes for those of you who've ever tried to come to Las Vegas and film anything professionally inside of a casino, it is actually one of the hardest things to do. If you are not a huge production company and have worked it out with the PR teams, this is a really difficult thing to do. Actually, if you go on their websites, they do have stuff for influencers who you can fill it out and then set things up with restaurants and so on and so forth. So it's gotten easier in that way, but this is a very large, and it's usually for a small group of people. It's usually 1 or 2 people and you're in a restaurant. This is for whole crews. There's I think 14 people all doing this. So there's 14 actual Barstool personalities, and then they are each followed by a videographer or producer. So that's essentially, when you times that all by 2, is a huge group of people. It's 28 people minimum, or let's just say 20 to be safe, and it's a lot of stuff walking through a casino. So it's going to be very different. Whenever people do things in Las Vegas, especially that are filmed, it's usually focused in one area, so a bar or lounge, very rarely in a nightclub. And it's so funny listening to these people talk. I listened to one gentleman talk. His name is Nicky Smokes on his show, and he's been to Vegas twice, once when he was not 21 and another when he was during COVID. And it's funny because they're here for a week and they think they're going to be partying every single night, which it just reminds me of how everybody feels like when they come to Las Vegas, is that they're like, oh, the city can't handle me. Oh, we're taking over the city. And then by the last night, you're like tapped out and not able to do it anymore. They think they're going to be staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning. They think it's an all night kind of town, which like things are open. Like things will be open at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it's not like popping at 4 o'clock. Like people are going home at that time. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on it where they might stay. Again, like they have a large group of people, which I think this is a common misconception about Las Vegas in general, is filming large things like this is actually quite difficult, just because we don't have a lot of suites that accommodate that many people. For example, like a large suite. So like at the Skylofts, for example. The Skyloft's largest room has 3 bedrooms. So usually you have one master that has one large bed, and then you have 2 other bedrooms that will have 2 queen beds in them. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 beds. So, if you break it up, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. All sharing a bed, which most people, because these people are not couples, they're not sharing those beds. So again, they can accommodate large groups, but it is really difficult. Also, it is very expensive to rent out like an entire floor. So I'll do it here. A couple of things that I think they're going to do. They've also haven't mentioned where they're going to be staying, which is very interesting because it's part of the show. They might be staying off the strip, like in like an actual an actual rented house. I don't think they're going to actually do that now that I've listened to some of the show, because they say they're going to have their own suites for the men and the women. So a couple options come to mind, and these are the places that I think they might stay. It is much easier to coordinate this when you have like a one-stop shop in terms of somebody you can go to. So one naturally would think and sort of like in that realm, because they are sports oriented, and kind of, basis on the owner of the property, is that Circa is is one place that I would throw out as a possible place that they would stay at. They do have rooms that have bunk beds, which is very, very popular. Fun fact, I've been told that they only have one bathroom inside of those bunk beds. Also, nobody loves self-promotion more than Derek Stevens, so I'm sure that he would make show up. Maybe I'll turn it into a whole episode where we'll just sort of like plan their itinerary, guessing, and see how close we get to it. Maybe that's not going to be interesting for you guys, but interesting for me. But it's kind of an interesting thing. So Circa, most very possible. Also the Palms. The Palms has many suites that overlook the Las Vegas Strip, and they are a single owner property. So they're always looking for promotion, and it's actually like a natural choice. They filmed many movies there. They filmed other TV shows, like The Real World was filmed at the Palms. Again, Circa is a great option as well. Single owner, Derek Stevens. There's a couple of the restaurants that I think they're going to go to. They're going to obviously go to nightclubs. But again, like they're going to be here for a week. So if I plan it out just vaguely, if they show up on a Saturday, they can go to literally any nightclub in Las Vegas, totally fine. Then they're probably going to go to a day club on a Sunday. Also cheaper to go to day clubs on Sundays. Monday, they can go to Marquee Mondays. So that would be at Cosmopolitan. Then on Tuesdays, you can go to Omnia. Omnia is Tuesdays their industry night. Thursday is typically XS. That's their like industry night. Friday, obviously, all places are open. They probably go to like the day club, not the day club, the Circus Swim, Stadium Swim at Circa if they wanted to, any day that they wanted. Also very loud there, so good luck trying to film inside of a very loud space. But they do it all the time, so it's not a problem. But yeah, I think I'm gonna probably make it a whole episode, just because I would love to. I knowing sort of like their brand and like how they kind of operate, I think I would have a lot of fun sort of breaking down where I think they're gonna go and where I think would accommodate their group. So that was kind of the big news for Las Vegas, and very specific sets of people. But yeah, that was our news. So let's go ahead and dive into the main topic. I'm sorry I put it off for so long, and sorry, Planet Hollywood. I took so long to get into your part of the segment, but here we are. So, Planet Hollywood, honestly, one of the best locations on the Las Vegas Strip, other than Bellagio and Caesars, which Bellagio to me is the absolute best location on the Strip. So whenever you hear me talk about this, Bellagio is smack dab the middle of the Strip to me, when it really is actually more like Caesars Palace. But Caesars Palace, it starts to turn, it has really weird things, it's not as open. But honestly, everybody universally recognizes Bellagio, Paris as the center of the Strip. But what's really close to it? The Planet Hollywood, which is right next door to the Excalibur Hotel. It's off of Harmon and Las Vegas Boulevard. This property is where we used to have the Aladdin Hotel. Then it was imploded, then rebuilt as the new Aladdin, and then rebranded as Planet Hollywood. Planet Hollywood is owned by Caesars Entertainment, so we're talking about Caesars-owned things on the inside. And they also have a mall connected to it, the Miracle Mile Shops, which is actually a mile long in a circle. Also, fun fact about Planet Hollywood is that their parking structure is not owned by the casino. It's actually owned by the mall company that operates the Miracle Mile Shops. It does have wonderful suites that look out to the Las Vegas Strip. This place also boasts many restaurants. They do have a couple different shows that operate inside of Planet Hollywood. And they just redid their center bar, which is actually quite beautiful. I think it's called the Glass Bar or the Glass Center Bar, essentially. And everything is very much like in a circle, just like many other properties in Las Vegas. But the Planet Hollywood is actually quite a nice mid-budget hotel, but not as budget-friendly as you might think it is. It's not like places like it's not like places like Park MGM, New York, where you can find like really cheap rooms. You can find cheap rooms at Planet Hollywood, usually during the week. Most of the time, they're between like $40 and $60 a night, plus resort fee, which is usually about $50. So you're looking about $100 a night, at the very bare minimum. But I did pick some random dates. So I didn't pick anything in May, because May is probably one of our best months to visit Las Vegas, which why it's so expensive. So I picked June 5th through June 7th. That was a little bit more than a month out. Probably a good time to sort of book your hotel rooms is about a month out. There's nothing going on that week, so I wanted to give them a fair shake where there isn't a big event. So they have rooms where it says room type assigned on arrival, which is a really funny way of them marketing that. For $137 a night, it's 430 square feet. It could be a 2 queens, or it could be 1 king. It does not say that, so that's where you take the chance. Or we can get a little bit more normal, and you can pick it's so funny, it says ultra hip room. I think that's a hilarious way to market your property. But 2 queens, $148 a night, plus resort fees. So the resort fee is $55. So you're looking at about $200 a night for 2 nights, essentially, because you're staying on the 5th and checking out on the 7th. So you're looking at about $400 for your room accommodations, plus taxes and fees, obviously. So not terrible. For example, if you split this with 4 people, that's not too bad. By the way, that would be the maximum number of people you can have staying in an ultra hip room, 2 queens, because of you'd have 2 people to a bed. You could probably fit 1 more person on a couch. Ooh, they also let you do mobility roll-ins. Look at that. That is classy. But their rooms are about about $200 a night with everything included. I did look in May just for fun, and they do have rooms, the exact same room for the room assigned on arrival, for almost $400, and basically every weekend in May. So maybe skip visiting in May if you haven't already booked your accommodations. But the rooms themselves are actually quite nice. I would say they're about mid-tier. They're very clean. I've been in there. My brother loves to stay at Planet Hollywood. He comes with lots of family. They like the location because they can walk to different places, especially when they have their kids. This is actually a very nice little location. Good views of the strip, of course. They also have a cool wave pool in the pool. But the rooms themselves, quite clean, pretty standard, nothing too like out of the ordinary, but still feels like a level up from places like Excalibur and Luxor. Definitely feels like a more modern hotel on the Las Vegas Strip. So that would be their rooms. And again, they have everything from regular rooms all the way up to like their city views, penthouses. But I would say they're like ultra like high-end rooms. They're really nice, but like if you're going to be doing something that's like top tier, I would probably recommend doing like the Paris Hotel, which actually has balconies that look out to the Las Vegas Strip now. But the rooms themselves, quite nice, centrally located. The elevators are actually quite close to the casino, so it's not too far of a hike to get to the casino floor. So the rooms themselves, quite nice. Kind of weird. I believe you used to have to check in downstairs. I don't know where the check-in is now, because it's been a minute since I've checked into that property. So my bad. Sorry I didn't have that on deck for you. But more importantly, let's get to the casino part of it. The casino itself, the thing with Planet Hollywood is that they get a lot of different clientele inside of their property. They do get a really good mix of, I would say middle-aged folks who have really good status, like Four Seasons properties, and like to be in the heart of the action and will stay at Planet Hollywood. And then you also have people who it's their first time to come to Las Vegas, and they want a nice little place to stay. This might be the choice that they go with. It's always kind of like a weird mix of people. Sometimes you get like high-end feeling people. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel like people who are high-end go to Planet Hollywood. You might have people who do have money that go there, but usually those people really count a lot of their credits for their rewards program, which is not a problem. But that's kind of the vibes that I usually get when I'm visiting Planet Hollywood. Yeah, I don't know. I just never like get great vibes in Planet Hollywood. Like Planet Hollywood, to me, is like kind of where you go like in your mid-20s, and like your friends, and you're just kind of like just walking around, popping into bars, grabbing a drink. Which my brother, who's in his like later 30s, he loves to do that with his friends. So maybe it's just me. I'm obviously on the bougier side when it comes to drinking cocktails and hanging out on the strip. But if you're going to have a good time, this is a good centrally located area that has access to things. But I think like Paris is better. Like I think a lot of the character has been taken out of Planet Hollywood. Like Planet Hollywood feels like the best version of a mall, essentially. Like a mall that has really cool things in this inside. And I think Paris to me, I don't want to like connect it to like Rodeo Drive because that's not what it is. But it's basically kind of like downtown Disney. That's not even a good way to do it. It just has like character. Downtown Disney doesn't have character. That was a bad analogy. But like Paris just it is what it is. And they've really bought into being Paris and kitschy, and like that's their Vegas. And that's why I like it. Cuz then like it's fun to look at stuff on the inside. But Planet Hollywood, it kind of just feels it was really cool like when they filmed the movie 21 there, and now it's not. But it does have lots of things on the inside. So, the casino for the most part, they have a lot of different contraptions to make you try to learn how to play craps. They have one where you get up and you throw the dice. I actually hate that game. Lots of bubble crap machines for you to learn. They have regular tables. They have a lot of blackjack tables, which is actually quite nice. Lots of selections. Good amount of craps tables as well. Not really like a heavy-duty high limit, but they have like a high-limit area. They do have the pleasure pit, which is always fun to just sort of look at sometimes. But I think they took away that the Paris still has it. The dancing dealers, but I haven't seen them there in a while. But usually the minimums there are going to be between 15 and more. I absolutely hate it. When I'm talking to somebody and I'm like, usually it's like this amount. They say, oh, well, we went the other day and it was $10. Honestly, guys, I've never seen a $10 table at Planet Hollywood. Like, they were going through a moment there where they only had $25 tables. They've really come to their senses, and they brought it back down to 15. But, yeah, it was kind of a crazy thing. Anyways, so tables, pretty good. Really good bar in the middle, the glass bar. That's where I saw Dennis Rodman. Sick. And the bartenders are very nice. So, not too bad. Pretty standard Central bar, but pretty cool. They have a little DJ. Good for us older folks who like that kind of music. So let's get into the restaurants, because that is my favorite thing to talk about when it comes to hotels. So let's talk about Planet Hollywood's restaurants. Probably some of their marquee things is going to be the Gordon Ramsay burger. I know a lot of people like this burger spot. This is, to me, one of Gordon Ramsay's worst restaurants on the Strip. And I say that with my whole chest. I think it's going to be random. The fish and chip place that's in front of the Link Hotel or on the Link Promenade is one of his best restaurants in Las Vegas, because it's what I want. It's a British food. It's fresh. You can actually see them making the fish in front of you, and it's delicious. And I really like the packaging. Gordon Ramsay burger, I don't know what it was, just like the menu, the table, everything felt cheap on the inside. And that's not what I associate when I think of Gordon Ramsay, obviously. But it is what I associate when I think of places like Caesar's Palace sometimes. Is sort of that like laminated, like we're going through a lot of guests sort of feel to it. And the burger was fine. I've had better burgers other places, which everybody loves to say that. I just hate that term, but like in this way, it's true, to be honest. My favorite burger in town, by the way, if you go on the Strip, is the Side Betty Bar, or Side Betty Bar at Park MGM. I actually really like that burger. Also, New York, they have, I think it's called something American Cafe. Not that one, different one. The Burger Bar, I think, and they make a really good burger as well. Really dig it. So, Gordon Ramsay's burger, not my favorite. Don't recommend it. Do something else with Gordon Ramsay's name on it. Don't do this. So, one of their other things that I think is actually really good, and it's going to sound silly, but their Cafe Hollywood is their like go-to like 24-hour cafe. Actually, it's open till 2:00. Delicious. I love that cafe for breakfast, late night bites. Cafe Hollywood for breakfast is probably one of my favorite breakfast restaurants on the Strip. I am not fancy when it comes to breakfast. I know a lot of people love to go do like brunch and everything. That is not me. I just want bacon and eggs, scrambled, sometimes a sausage. Cafe Hollywood actually like fits the mold. Another place that fits in this mold is the America Cafe, which that is at New York. I don't know why we always go there, but that's where we go. But I really like Cafe Hollywood. Love that place. Love the vibes. You can look out to the casino. Feels like that is where the cafe used to be when it wasn't this name, but still. It used to be called Planet Dailies was the name of their cafe. But love this cafe. Old school cafe vibes. Top tier. Love it. Also, let's move down the road. They do have Pinup Pizza. The pizza is fine. It's right by the sports book. It's okay. You can get there from the sports book. You can get there from the walkway on the Strip. It's fine. It's like it does the job. Now let's move on to the next one. PF Chang's. This place does have a PF Chang's inside of it, and I think it's still like one of the nicest PF Chang's like in the world. I haven't been to a PF Chang's in New York, so maybe it's better. But to me, this PF Chang's was like luxury back in the day. Like we would come to Vegas, I don't know, 20 years ago. And I'm so old. And this PF Chang's I used to be able to look into. And granted, the PF Chang's where I'm from in Tucson was like the best Chinese food in Tucson. Like they had a wonderful building, which I think they still actually do. But whenever we saw PF Chang's, I was like, that's the fancy Chinese food. And you can watch them make the food. And my dad was like, look, you can watch them make the food, which hilarious that I can just always remember that. And they have 2 floors, and I always thought that was like really fancy. So this PF Chang's, I think, very fancy PF Chang's, lots of memories. It's doable. Like if you need something that's a chain and you can't get a reservation anyplace else, PF Chang's will do the trick. But they do have a PF Chang's, looks out to the strip. It's actually kind of nice, not bad. So let's move on to the next one. Let's get over to some of their signature restaurants. The Strip House Steakhouse, which is on the second floor. Up the escalators, make a left. This place, it really depends on how you like your steak made. I personally do not like the way they prepare the steaks at Strip House. They do it with like blackened pepper, and it's a very peppery steak all around the edges on top of it. It's just like too much pepper for me. It is very dark in there, so it's not like my favorite. My brother loves to go there. What are some of the good things about the Strip House? One, very approachable in terms of the types of cuisine on the menu. It is a steakhouse. Also, they do take large groups. So if you are a large group, usually like 8 or 10 or more, you usually have to fill out like a credit card authorization form or things of that nature. This, prefix menu. Strip House does not require that. So the Strip House is actually a pretty good option if you have a larger group, to make a reservation there. But it's fine. I think it's okay. It's good for big groups. It's very dark in there. Good for dates as well. But in terms of food, it is not my favorite type of cuisine. Or sorry, not my favorite type of how they prepare the steak. So let's move over to the other one. This has become like really one of their signature restaurants because it has a view of the strip. This is the Carmela Italian restaurant. This restaurant is located right next to Strip House. It is where they used to have, oh my goodness, it was the show in Entourage. Totally forgot the name of it. Koi. This is where Koi used to be, and now it is Carmela. This place is New York style Italian, so much larger plates, like red sauce joint, larger portions. New York style Italians, which means New York style. What's what I'm looking for? Ingredients. I thought the food was okay. I thought the food was just fine. It was not my favorite type of Italian cuisine. I don't like vodka sauce. Like, I don't like my sauce to look more pink. I'm not a big fan of that. I didn't like the menu options for myself. Does it have a nice view of the fountains? It has a nice view of the strip. That's quite nice. But the room itself is kind of big. You usually can find a restaurant there, and it is billed as like upscale, but it's not bad. They do have a really cool lounge though. They do have a nice speakeasy, which is located on your way into the restaurant. So when you walk into the restaurant itself, the bar is going to be to the left, and then the rest of the restaurant is going to be on the right-hand side. On the left, as you're walking into the restaurant, as you pass the bar, there is a candy shop, or it looks like a candy shop. If you go through there, they usually ask for a password or something of that nature, and then that is where it gets you into a very nice lounge. You don't have to be eating at the restaurant to enjoy the lounge, and they have a nice little bar on the inside, good cocktails, good places to sit, and usually a DJ on the inside as well. Really fantastic little spot. I actually went there after dinner one time, and I had a good time. Kind of just hanging out in there, just chilling, having a cocktail. Sometimes they'll actually give you like 2-for-1 deals, especially if you are looking for a deal. Go to the top of the escalators at Planet Hollywood. Someone will be standing there to probably hand you a 2-for-1 drink. Just grab it. You never know when you might use it. And go have yourself a cocktail. Carmela's not bad. It just depends on your palate. Again, just like Strip House. I wouldn't say I recommend it, but it is a good option to have if that's something that you are, into. Check out the menu. Yolo's Mexican Grill, that's the one right next to the sportsbook. It's fine. They also have a restaurant inside of the sportsbook, which is also does the job. And of course, the very famous Earl of Sandwiches, which is right next to the entrance as you walk into the Miracle Mile shops. So that's essentially what the restaurants they have in the casino. But just remember, they do have more restaurants which are located in the mall, which is a lot more than you think. They actually have 2 restaurants, 2 major ones. They have one called Flights, which that is the same owner who owns Blondie's. Blondie's is a great option if you are in town for a big fight and you want to watch the fight, UFC or boxing. Also for any big events like, football, college football, NFL. If you want to just watch, baseball or any other sport, Blondie's is an absolutely fantastic place to do it. Has a very cool old school feel sports bar to it. And then Flights has food. Again, essentially, it's just like bar food. it gets the job done just like, anything else. There's a lot of people who really liked Ocean One. Ocean One is known for their very, very cheap menu. There's usually a very long line there, but that is a good place to go if you want a very basic breakfast at a very low price. It's called Ocean One, and that is located inside the Miracle Mile shops. I believe they also have a Brazilian steakhouse on the inside. I've told Pampas, I believe is the name. Haven't been there in a very long time, so I couldn't get any recommendations on that. They do also have, this is sort of like the normal mall. So like, let's just say you forgot something and you needed to go buy some shoes, needed to go buy a shirt, pants, whatever. They do not have a department store, but they do have regular shops on the inside, because if you go to places like the Forum shops, if you go to places like Crystal Shopping Mall, those are high-end shopping establishments. They do have places that you can buy pants and stuff. Like they do have a Levi's store at the Forum shops, which that's actually where I buy all of my pants, because they're a very specific cut and they always have my size and they're always available and they're normal prices. So that's where I like to go. So that's a Levi's store. They also have a Nike store at Forum shops. But getting back to the Planet Hollywood, they do have a shoe palace, which has plenty of shoes to pick from. They do have other like little shops and stores that I don't have all the names to, but like think like Foot Locker, like the Lucky Brand store, those type of stores are in there. They're not going to have like a Louis Vuitton or anything like that. They'll have very approachable stores to go inside of. Bed Bath & Beyond, Bath and Body Works is what I meant. That's the kind of shops that are inside of the Miracle Mile shops. And lots of fast food. They have like a Panda Express and so on and so forth. Also inside of the Miracle Mile shops is where you're going to find their major theater. I believe it's called the PH, let's see here, PH Live at Planet Hollywood. This is the name for their giant showroom. It's essentially like a mixed-use event center, but it's a theater, essentially what it comes down to. They have a lot of like shows that couldn't sell out the Coliseum, but also like weren't prestigious enough to go to Dolby Live at Planet Hollywood. So this is where they end up. And I've seen the Backstreet Boys here. I've seen Britney Spears here. I've seen Christina Aguilera here. They had a whole run where they just had a lot of like, retread like 90s and 2000s like pop stars. This is where they went. They were rumored this was going to be the location or the spot for the makeup shows for Adele, which would have completely changed the tenor of that whole thing. So, for example, the people that they have coming in are going to be like Jeff Dunham. Ramon Ayala is coming. My parents would love that. Lady A is coming to town. Khaled is coming to town as well. Youngbloods, which that's a pretty big concert to be performing there. Rock stuff. And a couple other bigger names. But that is located inside of that theater. It is sometimes a chore to have to go to this theater. It is all one level, so there's not a balcony. You have to be very careful about where you purchased your tickets at, because sometimes there is still like an upper level that they use for lights and such, which does sort of block intended views. But it's an okay theater. It's not my favorite theater, but it is there. They also have the Chippendales here for anybody looking to go see the Chippendales. They have made their way to the Strip from the Rio. This is also where we have Chris Angel. This is very, very important for anybody who is thinking of going to see the Chris Angel show. You've probably heard the reviews. They are not good because that show sucks. Do not go see Chris Angel, the Mind Freak. There's a reason those tickets are so cheap. It is not a good show. Go see anybody else. Go see Matt Franco. Go see Shin Lin. Chris Angel is not a good show. So that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, their shows are not bad. They also have really good shows inside of the V Theater and the Saks Theater, which that's also located in the Miracle Mile shops. And those are great shows to go to if you have kids. Also, if you wanted a show that is more of a production show, but nothing like a headliner, for example. Like one of my favorite shows in town is called Vegas, the Show. And that is located in the Saks Theater inside of the Miracle Mile shops. I absolutely love the show, Vegas the show. It's has a very old school feel of Las Vegas. They also do an Elvis they used to do an Elvis tribute show there, but I think we just got invited and I think it's been moved to the Tuscany. Hard pass on that one. But they do have that option here. So what did I not cover yet? Shows, restaurants, hotels. They do have a spa. And they do also, they say they have nightlife. Let's see what nightlife they're talking about, because it's fun. So their nightlife, which is headlined by their Hidden Lounge, which is never a good start. 50 cents candy shop? What is this? Specialty cocktails, craft brews, and legendary 50 cent located in front of the PH Live. Oh, I get it. See, this is the thing. This is why it's important to have boots on the ground. Because I got really excited about this. This is 50 cents candy shop, bar, and lounge. You're like, oh, this is like a cool like bar and lounge area, right? Wrong. This is just a casino bar that sits outside of the Planet Hollywood Live Theater, which is the theater where I was just talking about. It's literally more in the way than it is a bar. So don't get super excited about this candy shop, bar, and lounge thing. The Carmela Hidden Lounge, which if you look online, very pretty picture of what the bar looks like. And there's more space, like off to the right when you look at it. But, very moody, very dark, good for dates. Extra Lounge, it's fine. It's, again, in the middle of the casino. Purple Zebra, that is also somewhere in the Miracle Mile shops. The Glass Bar, really cool cocktail. That's an Adios. Maybe not what they call it, but it's an adios to us on this part of town. They have this thing called the Ringer Bar, which that's inside of their sports book, which is quite mid. And that is all they have. They do not have a nightclub inside of Planet Hollywood, just so everybody's aware. The pool itself is fine. It is doable. It's on the roof of the Planet Hollywood. And they also have surfing on the top of there as well. There is also not a day club at this restaurant, at this location. The number one reason to stay at the Planet Hollywood is its location to the center of the Strip. It is one of the best located restaurants on Las Vegas Boulevard. It has direct access to a bridge that crosses you over to Cosmopolitan. From there, you could go to anything at the City Center, Bellagio, so on and so forth. Good location. It also has a bridge that connects over to the south end of the Strip, which is a major bridge you have to cross. There is also a Walgreens on the corner. There is also a Taco Bell Cantina, which is a special Taco Bell that is 2 floors, and it serves alcoholic beverages, beer, and mixed drinks or mixed frozen drinks. They also have specific items that you can't find in any other Taco Bell in the world. Like they have the quesadilla pizza or taco pizza, which is, or Mexican pizza, which is a huge deal. They also have a bubblegum shrimp. They have a sugar factory, which has been relocated to where the Twin Peaks used to be. RIP to Twin Peaks. God, that was such a great location. It was so cool. It was awesome. I used to always call my dad from the second floor because it was 3 floors. So I think I was on the 3rd floor. And they had this beautiful bar that had like an open air lookout to Harmon Corner. And like when the sun was going down, they had a TV right there. You're watching like the World Series or something, and our Monday Night Football. And it was so awesome. You never know what you got till it's gone. Deep thought for life. But it is no longer there. It is now a sugar factory. But they do have those options available. They have a tattoo shop as well, all on that corner on Harmon Corner. And, of course, you can go outside and look at that big, giant screen. So, with that being said, oh my goodness, I haven't finished. They also have the Blue Martini being built, which is where they used to have a Mexican restaurant. That is supposed to be a big deal. And I don't think that Casa Rosana is open anymore. So sorry for all the influencers who went there to try to open it, and it didn't open. So with that being said, guys, that is the episode for this week. It might be a little bit longer than usual. I recorded this late, so I do apologize. But hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you see me out in town when you come in here, make sure to come up and say hello. But remember, keep it confidential.